and this is Sherry Bavron from The Confident Mother, and you thought it was all over. The LinkedIn challenge was a 10-day challenge to help you get noticed and make a bigger impact on LinkedIn. Thank you if you have responded to my request for feedback. It's been very helpful and some really positive comments, and I really do appreciate that, and loved reading through the way that you would describe this to a friend. One of the comments that came up a few times on the feedback was that I didn't go through groups. Now, that was a conscious decision on my part. I couldn't actually squeeze everything in, and so I decided to focus on the things that I focus on myself in my own strategy, and also what I encourage my clients to do. But of course I do use groups, and I do use groups for networking, so I wanted to just touch on that, and also to explain a little bit about why I chose to leave that topic out of the 10-day challenge. And you know, I could have made it an 11-day challenge, but that kind of just didn't have the same ring about it. Groups on LinkedIn, you can use these for networking the same way as you might use groups for networking on Facebook, or you might do networking live, kind of face-to-face. And there are two types of groups really for networking. There are your peer groups, so the people who do the same thing as you. So for me, I might belong to a group of other leadership coaches. And then there are the groups where your potential clients or potential employers might hang out. So for example, I work with women in technology and I work with women in professional services. So I belong to some technology groups, and I also belong to some law firm groups, because those are where my potential clients are. And then it's about having those conversations and remembering always that whatever you do, you are contributing towards your personal brand. So when you do join a group, it's just like real life networking. If you walk into a room of 100 people and they're all stood there chatting, maybe having a glass of wine or a cup of coffee, depending on what type of event you've gone to, you don't just walk into the middle of the room and say, "Hello, my name's Sherry. I'm a leadership coach. Who wants to work with me today? I've got this brilliant offer," and then walk out again. You just wouldn't do that. People would look at you and think, "Whoa, what was that about?" No, what you would do in a real life networking group is you walk over, you'd maybe go and get yourself a cup of coffee, you see a group of people standing there chatting, you join in the conversation, you show some interest, you ask some questions, and then people will turn around to you and say, "Well, what do you do? Or what's your thoughts? What are your ideas?" Or you share your knowledge, you share your experience. And it's exactly the same with online networking. Now, I have a great resource that I can share with you, an interview that I did with Heather White, and we very much focus on how to network with confidence, but we were very specifically focused on face-to-face, so live networking as opposed to online networking, but the same principles apply. So it's about, you can't just walk into a group or type into a group and just pump, dump and leave. You've got to get that conversation going first, building that rapport, building that relationship. Because whatever you do, however you behave, whatever you say, it's going to reflect and contribute towards your personal brand. And for me, one of the key things about networking and using LinkedIn is about that authenticity. So I'm now in LinkedIn. There are two ways that you can search for groups in LinkedIn. The first method is to use the search box up the top. If I search for and then we have here people, jobs, posts, companies, and this fifth option is groups. It produces a list of groups that fit women in technology. So you can see here the list of the groups, and you can also see the number of members that belong to each group. And that's not necessarily how active that particular group is. Let's choose Women in Technology International. And here it shows me who the admins are. Any of my connections that already belong to this group. About this group. So whoever the group owner is, there's information about this group, And this one is great because it tells me the goals. It also tells me it's a moderated group. And if I want to, I can ask to join. And it will tell me up here, your request has been submitted. Now, some groups will have a request process and will want to come back to with more information, and others don't. The other way to find groups, up here in the toolbar, I can click on work, and then down here, groups. Now, this is one of the reasons actually why I chose to leave groups out of the main challenge, because what I've noticed over the last year or two is that LinkedIn is making it harder and harder to go in and find groups. So I don't know whether that is that groups, whether that will remain on their roadmap over the next 2 or 3 years, but with the new desktop interface, they've definitely made it harder, if you like, to find the groups, which is why I chose not to focus on it. So click on groups, and you have 3 options here: highlights, my groups, so that's a list of the groups I belong to, and discover, and that will be suggestions from LinkedIn. So these are the groups that I currently belong to, and a selection of conversations from those groups. So it's not all of my groups. Also down on the right here, it tells me my most active groups, so the ones where there's been the most discussion. If I then choose my groups option, this is a list of all the groups that I own, manage, or that I'm in. Now, I manage one group, the Document Excellence group. I'm also in several groups, and I could create a group. We're not going to cover that today. And then finally, the last option is discover. And this is LinkedIn suggesting to me, based on my profile and based on my summary and based on the groups that I already belong to, some groups that I might like to join. I'm a coach, therefore it's suggesting quite a few coaching groups to me. I work with leadership, so it's suggesting a leadership group. If I choose load more, you can see here how it's showing me coaching groups, talent development groups, training manager groups, speaker groups. I can choose to ask to join one of these groups. So for example, I can ask to join the executive coach, and my request is now pending. So that is a quick overview of groups in LinkedIn, just to give you a couple of interesting facts. With groups, you are limited to 100 groups. So you cannot belong to more than 100 groups. And if you try to request membership to a group that will take you to 101 memberships, you'll need to cancel out or withdraw your membership from another group first. The second thing is you cannot join lots and lots of groups in one go. The maximum number of groups that you can belong to in pending status is 10. LinkedIn is working hard so that it is not just a marketing place, just somewhere where people bombard you with pitchy type messages. So that's why LinkedIn has those limitations there. Let me just show you quickly how you can check the settings for the groups that you belong to. Blogging for coaches, for example. If I click on the cogwheel, that's group settings. I can see here, I can display the group logo so that other members can see that I belong to that group. My email address for group digest emails. I can choose to be notified every time there's a new conversation. Switch that on, see what it's like. You may find that you will be bombarded. You may find you've joined a group that has little activity in it. You might prefer to have a digest email, and you can choose to have daily delivery or weekly delivery. You can choose to have admin announcements switched off or on, and member messages allow members of this group to send me messages via LinkedIn, and then you can save the changes. It's also on this screen. You can choose to leave a group, so group settings or leave group. Your group tasks then, your quick fix task that's just going to take you a few minutes. Find 3 groups to join, including at least one peer group, so a group of people who run a similar business to you or in a similar career to you. So find 3 groups to join, including at least one peer group. When you have more time task, review the group settings for the groups that you do belong to. Decide whether you want to be notified when a new conversation starts or if you want a regular digest. And just have a play around with those settings and get comfortable with them. So that's your bonus LinkedIn challenge task, looking at groups. Thank you for listening, and don't forget you've still got time to take me up on that LinkedIn exclusive offer. Basically, you're getting your normal LinkedIn Confidence plus an extra strategy session. So if you want to take me up on that offer, the expiry is Wednesday the 31st of May. Thank you. Bye-bye.